Hello again, boys and girls. We're going to do a brief review of our caterpillars, okay, because they are going to start changing, and I want to make sure you know what to do and you're very careful with them. Okay, remember the first stage was the egg, and we didn't see that. And out of the egg came teeny tiny caterpillars that, as they ate, they grew and grew, and they should be almost finished growing. I'm going to show you mine that are almost finished growing. Can you see? Okay. And if you notice, one of them, tilting my cup slowly, can you see, is on the top of the lid. Okay, because when they are finished growing, you will see that they will all climb to the top of the lid, and they will hang upside down like a J. It's very important not to disturb them because they're getting ready to change, to build what is called a chrysalid. So it's very important that they stay up there steady. So they're not all going to do it at the same time. So that means in your cup journal, you might do more than one drawing in one day, because I drew this one. This isn't happening in my cup now, but so you know what to do when it starts to happen. When you start to see maybe 2 or 3 or even 1 hanging like a J, you're going to date it and put it in your cup. So you might do more than 1 cup in one day, because those are your observations. When they change, when something different happens, you'll draw it. Okay, so you might have 3 hanging like J's, 1 starting to climb to the top, and maybe 1 on the top. Okay, what I drew in my journal today, okay, I have 1 already on the top and 1 climbing. These others are still kind of crawling around and eating. So they are getting ready to build their chrysalid. And when that happens, unless you watch them steady the whole time, you probably won't see them building the chrysalid. And as they build their chrysalid, they'll look like this. It'll look dark. Okay, it's not time to move them and put them in the netting yet. When it starts to look very gray, that is when the chrysalid has hardened. And while they're in their chrysalid, they're actually going to shed another piece. They won't need it anymore. They'll shed their little, I think their head will come off. Well, not their whole head, but part of it. Okay, so when all 5 are hanging from the top of the cup, like a J, they'll gradually form their chrysalid, and then the chrysalids will harden. Okay, they cannot be moved into the netting until a couple days after. It's in the little directions that your mom or dad has. And what they will need to do after a couple of days of being in the chrysalid, and we know that they're hardened, okay, your parents will take the lid off very slowly. And it can be tricky, because what it is inside, under the lid, it's almost like there's a paper towel there, and that's what they're attaching themselves to. So very carefully, mom or dad will slowly take the lid off, and they have to be very careful when they lift it, because some of that webbing might get caught. And if you pull too hard, the chrysalid will fall. So they might even have to use a pair of scissors to slowly cut some of that webbing so that it's not attached, so that they can pull the lid up. Once they've pulled the lid up, they will carefully put it, you have this in your kit, it looks like a little log, the lid will stand up in there. Now, if one of the chrysalids falls off of the little lid, you would just lay it inside the netting, the case that you have that you'll open up and put it in there, and put this in there too on the floor. Okay, so you're going to be doing a lot of observing, because I think these important changes here, I think the chrysalids, by the time I see you on Tuesday, I think all of the chrysalids will have formed, okay? And then after a few days of the chrysalids being formed, then the lid can come off and carefully transfer, put it into the netting. Okay, so you'll continue to make your observations and write them, draw them in your little journals with the cups. Okay, and like I said, you might have more than 1 observation in one day, so you want to put those. Okay, that's what scientists do. Every time there's a change, they mark it down. Okay, you have to draw it how it really looks. Okay, and then today you're going to do this. One page in this book. I'm going to scan it to your parents so they know what you should write. It says, I have 5 caterpillars. They are in the larva stage. They are getting big. Okay? And then I drew a picture of mine. So you'll copy the words that Miss Sweeney wrote, because it's important that we want to say we have 5, that they're in the larva stage, and that they're getting bigger. Okay? And then I drew a picture. So you don't have to draw the cup. You can pretend this whole thing is the cup. Okay? And see, and then I even used a gray. I made the netting. I put the details. I put part of the pieces that are shedding off. Okay? So you're going to do this today. All right, boys and girls. That is all of our science for today. And I will see everybody in a little while at 1 o'clock for Daniela's Star of the Week presentation. Okay?